Sadhu, sadhu. Thiruvan Sarnai, dear Dham friends. I am Bhanthe Dhammalankara from Labunoruwa Forest Monastery, North Central Province in Sri Lanka. And I am happy to talk about the Buddha's Dhamma with you. So, as usually, before we start, we invite to the Devas to join with us. Samanta Cakkavālesu Atra gacchanto devata saddhammang munirājassa sunantu sagga mokkadang Dhammasavana kālo ayang badantā Dhammasavana kālo ayang badantā Dhammasavana kālo ayang badantā. Now we invited to Devas and we trust all the Devas join with us. Then all together pay our homage to the great teacher Sammasambuddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, Thiruvan Sarnai all of you, and good morning and good evening all of you. Today I hope to talk about some important Dhamma factors which is included in Mahāsatipaṭṭhānasuttaṃ. And there are so many Dhamma factors in this Satipaṭṭhānasuttaṃ. There are so many meditation method in this Satipaṭṭhānasuttaṃ. In Kāyānupassana paragraph, also in Kāyānupassana paragraph, there are so many meditation methods. About 14 meditation methods are included into the Kāyānupassana paragraph. Among those methods, one method I discussed, that is ānapanasati, meditation on breathing. Once I discussed about this sutta. So today I hope to talk about 4 postures and other actions, other movements. So if we go to the sutta, Punacchaparam bhikkhave bhikkhu, after the ānapanasati, Punacchaparam bhikkhave bhikkhu, again the meditation or the bhikkhu, gacchanto va Gacchāmī'ti pajānāti. When working, he understands I am working. Gacchanto va Gacchāmī'ti pajānāti. When working, he understands I am working. Ṭhitomhī'ti pajānāti. When standing, he understands I am standing. Nisinnomhī'ti pajānāti. When sitting, he understands I am sitting. Sayānomhī'ti pajānāti. When sleeping, he understands I am sleeping. Yathā va panassa. Whatever movements he does, he understands that moving. Now, there are very important word. There is a very important word, pajānāti. Gacchanto Gacchāmī'ti pajānāti. The pajānāti is very important word. Normally, when you go, you know about that. You understand that you are going. When animals go, they know that they are going. Then what is the meaning? This word pajānāti. Jānāti means understanding. Pajānāti means especially understanding. According to the Dhamma, according to the basic teachings of the Buddha, co-factors of the Buddha, co-factors of the Buddhism. That is how we practice that. That is how we develop 4 postures. So, when we go, when we are working, we should pay our keen attention about our working according to the Buddha's, according to the arising and ceasing of the 5 aggregates, according to the Four Noble Truth. That is how we develop the meditation on 4 postures. Otherwise, the animals also know when they go. So therefore, also today I hope to talk about arising and ceasing of the 5 aggregates. After understanding arising and ceasing of the 5 aggregates, you can easily develop the right mindfulness by using these 4 postures. What is the 5 aggregates? 5 aggregates mean Panch Upadana Kanda. Panch Upadana Kanda means our life, our world, your world is called Panch Upadana Kanda. So, let's talk about the Panch Upadana Kanda. How much we talk about the arising and ceasing of the Panch Upadana Kanda, it is not unwanted thing. So, how do we create Panchupadānakanda? We create with the help of our 6 faculties, 6 sense bases. Dear Dhamma friends, normally we associate this world, man, God, sun, moon, stars, chakras, and rivers, worlds, continents, as well as I, my face, my hair, my teeth, my skin. Those can be called Panchupadānakanda. Those are our world. How do we create those things? Our life means using these 5 faculties. Living means using these 5 faculties. Without these 5 faculties, these 6 faculties, no one can talk about the life. Dear Dhamma friends, when you use your eye, when you use your eye, you don't use your ear. When you use your eye, you don't use your nose. When you use your tongue, you don't use your body. When you use your eye, you don't use your mind at that time, at that second, at that instant. After using your eye, then you use your mind. That is how we use our faculties, but we don't know about that. But Buddha pointed out about that. So, in this manner, using our faculties, we create the world, but we don't know about that. So, if you think about your favorite things, favorite person, or sometime it may be your father or mother, let's talk about your father. How do we create our father? If I say you to recall your father, you can recall your father by your mind. Then you think, I am thinking about father. I am thinking about my father who is living in the world, in the home. But you can never think about your father who is living today. You can only recall your thought, what you saw. So therefore, when you think your father or your mother, at that time, at that second, at that instant, you only use your mind. You only use your mind at that time, at that second. Then, at that time, you don't use another faculties. Then, thinking about your father is your life at that time. Thinking about your father is your living. Thinking is the living at that time, at that second, at that instant. And then we should know how we create the father. When we know about how we create the father, we know about how we create our life. When we know about our father, we know about our whole life. So let's take example. How do we create the father? I and visual object and I consciousness. Because of these three, contact arises. Because of contact, feeling and perception arises. Because of feeling, start to think. Because of perception and feeling, start to think. Then we put our thought towards visual object, that this is father, that this is mother, or that this is woman, or that this is man. But there was no father in the visual object. There was no father in the I. There was no father in the consciousness, in the I consciousness. Or there was no father in the feelings. Or there was no father in the perception. We create the father with the help of these things. So now you saw how do we create the father. Now you saw how do we create the father. And in the same way, we create everything. You clearly saw now there was no father in the visual object. You clearly saw there was. After creating with the help of the thoughts, we put those thoughts towards physical body, visual objects. We see father in the physical body or in the visual object, in the outside. But what is the reality? We created with the help of our thoughts. Where did this thought come? That is called avijja, ignorance. We did not see the reality before. At the present, now we don't see the reality. We see the world with the ignorance. In the same way, we saw the world in the past, and that ignorance helped us to create the more and more ignorance. So that is how That is how we create the world. Now so we can't see the person or beings in the visual object or physical body. So, but when some people, when we live, we saw so many variations in the world, but we only meet visual objects, and I and I consciousness. Because of these three, we create man, woman, and enemies and beloved ones. So, dear Dhamma friends, this is the ignorance. Every time the things we saw, after we seeing, after we touching, it is disappeared. Every time we see the world, but we think that is exist, but it does not exist. It is disappeared after we turn another side. When we take our eye another side, that things disappeared. But we don't know about that. So we think those things exist in the world. So Dhamma friends, that is how we create the people, not only others, not only animate things, inanimate things also inanimate things we create in the same way. Let's take an example. We can see golden necklace. We saw how do we create golden necklace. I consciousness, I consciousness and visual object, and then because of these three contact arises. Then because of contact, feeling arises. Because of feeling, perception arises. Then we started to think. Then, dear Dhamma friends, we put our thoughts toward the visual object. Then we create the golden necklace. But there was no golden necklace in the visual object. There was no golden object in the eye consciousness. There was no golden necklace in the contact or feeling or perception. We create the golden necklace with the help of our previous thoughts, sankhara, with the help of the ignorance. In the present, we don't know the reality because of those ignorance. In future, we can create the ignorance. That is how we create the world. So even though we see the reality, now we discussed. Now if you pay your keen attention about this truth, about this reality, you can see at the time when we talk, you can see the reality that you can see the reality about the faculties. Then you can understand that there are no any beings in the faculties, but you can't experience at once Now you can understand when we talk about the faculties, when we talk about the faculties, the reality of the faculties, you can understand that there are no any beings in the faculties, but you can't at once practice that, at once experience that reality. Why that? That is the impact of the asava. Those are called kāmasava, bhavasava, avijjāsava. Kāmasava means the habits, the sensual habits. Bhavasava means existential habits. Avijjāsava means habits of ignorance. So, because of this habit, we can't face the reality at once. So, if you want to face this reality, if you want to face this, if you want to enjoy this reality, if you want to enjoy the happiness, enjoyed by the arahantas, you have to develop some faculties. Those are called saddha, faith on Buddha, virya, saddha, virya. Virya means effort or endeavorance. Sati, mindfulness, right mindfulness. Samadhi, right concentration, noble concentration. Panya, noble wisdom, direct wisdom. So, if you want to face this reality, you have to develop these 5 faculties. What are them? Faith on the Buddha, faith on the Dhamma. How do we create the faith? By understanding the Dhamma, you can create the faith. You can build up the faith, and then when you see the reality, you don't follow unwanted thing. Then you started to follow the Dhamma, that is Dhamma again and again. Then you can develop your effort or right effort, right endeavorance. In the same way, you can create noble mindfulness, right mindfulness. So, that is why Buddha pointed out the Satipatthāna. With that knowledge, with that realization, we can practice Satipatthāna. So, even though we understand that there is not a being in the faculties or in the visual object, we see that. So now, all the time when we go forward, when we working, we should see that there are no any beings going. Gacchanto or Gacchāmī'ti pajānāti. We understand how this working is process. Because of mind, before we go, dear Dhamma friends, according to Dhamma, before we go, we create a thought, but we don't know about that. Before we move place to place, first of all, we create a thought. Then that thought create a kāya viññapti, the mental formation. That thought create the picture, that action. Before do that, It is called kāya-viññapti. And that kāya-viññapti, or that picture created by the mind, create air ailments related to the mind. It is called chitta-kiriya vayu dhatu. So that chitta-kiriya vayu dhatu, so air ailments related to the mind, force to forward body. That is how moving is process. That is how working is process. So with that knowledge, that knowledge can be called the realization of the mentality and materiality. Namancha rupancha. So dear Dhamma friends, when you saw this reality, when you're moving, when you're working, you don't think that this is a being, that this is a person, that this is I am. You understand the reality. You see the reality. Then bahidhava kāye kāyānupassī. In the same way, you can practice gacchanto or gaccāmī'ti, ṭhito or ṭhitomhī'ti. When you standing, you create a thought before stand. When you standing, you create a thought before you stand. Then you constrict that thought, constrict air ailment related to the mind. And that is how that standing is process. And when you see this, you don't think that this is a being, that this is I am. You think this is the functions, this is the process, mentality and materiality. In the same way, ṭhito or ṭhitomhī'ti pajānāti. You know, you see according to the truth, according to the reality. When you sitting and Sayānomhī'ti pajānāti, all the time. When you sleeping, you should know. When you sleeping, you should know. You should be aware that there are no any beings in the body. There are no any soul in the body or the mind. When you see this reality, you can maintain that mind, that awareness. You don't vanish this. You don't allow vanish this awareness. You don't forget that. Even though you know, because of your sansaric habits, you forget that wisdom. You forget that reality. Then you think that I am, that a person, that this is a soul. That is how we live in normal life. But the pajānāti means gacchanto, nisinnomhī'ti pajānāti means you keep in your memory this process, this reality. That is how you practice these 4 postures. In the same way, you can watch others' body, others' life. When you see some favorite person or some unpleasant person, you don't think that this is a man, that this is. You don't think that there is a man in the body, that there is a soul in this body. You know, you see now 4 postures as 4 postures you can see. how that person acts these postures in the same way. First, he creates thought. How does he create thought? Because of ignorance. If you want to go forward, you think that there is a world, that there is a road, that there is a flow, that there is a earth, then you can go. If you think that there is a flow of world or earth, that is ignorance. There was no world. We create the world. So that ignorance create a thought to go. That is how. So, dear Dhamma friends, that other person also, in the same way, other person also create these four postures. So, dear Dhamma friends, Bahiddhava kāye kāyānupassī viharati. That person abides contemplating body externally. That is the meaning. And then externally and internally, both together, sometime according to your kilesa, according to your defilements, you can maintain that practice. When you develop this practice, when you develop this meditation, you can reduce your abhijja, your lust, your domanassa, your ill will. When you reduce your ill will, you can easily see the reality. That is how we develop, dear Dhamma friend. That is how we develop these four postures up to Nibbana. And then let's go to the next part. Dear Dhamma friend, abhikkante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. When sampajanakari, when you do something, some action, do it with fully awareness. Sampajanakari. Sampajanakari means do it fully aware. Understanding the reality. Knowing the reality. Do that. When you want to watch, you don't watch in the normal way. You watch that according to the, you watch with the realization, with the understanding of the Dhamma. That is how. Sampajanakari. If you want to look forward, you watch without ignorance. At the beginning, you will find this is very difficult. But after some time, you can familiar with that. Abhikkante. Abhikkante means going when forward, when you go forward. Patikkante means when return. All the time do it sampajanakari, with fully awareness. Alokite vilokite, when look forward and ahead. Look forward and away. Do it fully aware, without ignorance. Normally we see the world with ignorance. Normally we see the things. When we see these kind of things, we see that this is an object, that this exists in the outside. But Sometimes you can connect your knowledge with your eye. Sometimes you can think about your eye when you see. Sometimes you can think about the visual object when you see the world. When you develop this method, you can eradicate lust and ill will. When you eradicate lust and ill will, then you can see that there isn't a soul in the body or the mind. Then you can develop mindfulness and right concentration and direct wisdom. This is how you can develop these postures and these all actions. So, dear Dhamma friends, I hope to stop the explanation of the sutta. If you have any question, please leave a comment. I am happy to answer those questions. There, dear Dhamma friends, Sudha is very cordial Dhamma friends. All the time he joined with us and he has good Dhamma knowledge. One day, before I explain this, one day he asked a question. I want to tell that one day he asked a question. That is my mistake. One day I tell that mind consecutively does not arise. That is, I said that I according to Dhamma, mind can arise consecutively. That is correct. Mind can arise consecutively. Other faculties cannot be arised consecutively in a row. That is the correct one. Mind can arise in a row. Mind and Dhamma. And that is correct. So, dear Bhanthe, when defining the right view, Buddha sometimes defines wrong view, as there are no mother, no father, natti mata, natti pita. How should this be understood based on teachings state today? That is very important question. Very good question. There are very particular sutta. There is a very particular sutta called Gacchāmī'ti. Kāyānupassanā sutta. Gacchāmī'ti. So, now we should understand about the body as body. If we have ignorance, if we create the world We can see the animals, we can see the beings. We create the beings, we create the soul with the help of the faculties, with the help of the ignorance. When we see, now if you understand about the I or I consciousness or visual object, you clearly saw there are no any being in the I. There are no any being in the visual object. You saw that. But we think that there is a man in the body, that there is a man in the visual object or physical body. That is our ditti. That is our ditti. So that ditti, if we have that ditti, when we die, we die with that idea. So now, without understanding, without seeing the reality, we can't say that there are no mother, that there are no person. To your wisdom, you can't see the person. Now, without that wisdom, if we say that there are no mother, that there are no father, without that wisdom, without that realization, if we say that there is no mother, that there is no father, it is ignorance. It is also ignorance. It is also bad view. So, now, if you develop this wisdom, you can see the reality. Now, without developing that knowledge, how can we see that there is no mother, that there is no father? You stay in the chair, you eat food, you enjoy your life. Why? You think, you feel that I am living. In that knowledge, in that ditti, in that view, you have beings, you have soul in that, according to that view. In that view, with that view, you can't say that there is no father, there is no mother, there is no being. With that ignorance, if we say that there is no any beings, it is also bad view. But you can change your view by developing your wisdom. Then you can see the reality. Then your mindset completely changed. Without understanding this, you can't say that there is no soul. You had to understand clearly. After you understand, then you don't say, if you understand this, you don't say that there are no any soul, any beings in the physical body. But if you understand correctly this, you will teach, we are the creator. We are the creator. If we stop this creating, you can't see the beings or soul. So, natti mata, natti pita. It is bad view without understanding. If you understand the faculties, you can see the reality. I think that is the answer. If you are not clear, please ask again. I will explain another with another example. Dear Bhanthe, is the intention do dear Bhante, is the intention to do wholesome deeds? Is the root of that intention coming from any other place other than ignorance? Yes, that is also very important question. Buddha said that all the time, sabba papassa akaranam kusalasa upasampada. First of all, we have to stop unwholesome thing. Papassa akarana. Do not do unwholesome thing. First, when we understand the reality, when we develop this Satipatthāna, first, at present, we don't try to stop wholesome thing. We should develop wholesome thing and we should stop unwholesome thing. But if you want to worship the Buddha, if you want to offer the flower, we should have we are doing with the ignorance. That is also in ignorance. But it doesn't matter when you practice Dhamma. When you reach the arahanthood, naturally you can give up those things. Absolutely, the wholesome idea, if you want to do wholesome thing, that idea also related to the ignorance. But if you want to practice Satipatthāna, sometimes there are some parts in the now next time we can talk about that the ones Buddha pointed out in one method Buddha pointed out about the 32 parts of the body. We have to develop our mind by the contemplating or paying attention about these parts of the body. So when you see that parts, we have to use some kind of ignorance, but those can't be called as ignorance because those are included into the Four Noble Truth. So when you practice, sometimes you want to collect merits or develop your meritorious aspect. So those aspects can't be called as ignorance because those are included into the Four Noble Truth. So that is the answer. If you are not clear, please ask again. Another question from Janaki Balasuriya, Janaki Amma from USA. So, Bhanthe, is the world around us is created by us using the 6 internal sense bases, external sense bases? Sound, taste, from, and each consciousness. Yes, we create our world with the help of the 6 sense bases. Consciousness is also can call a basis. One day, Buddha pointed out mind and consciousness and chitta, mana, chitta, vijnana. These three words are used for one. Mana, chitta, vijnana. So, when we use our eye, we use chakku vijnana. The understanding, the knowing the eye. Vijnana means knowing. Vinyaya means knowing. Vinyaya means knowing. Knowing of eye, we call chakku vijnana. Sota means ear. Knowing means, vinyaya means knowing. So, knowing ear, called sota vijnana. Knowing tongue, called jivha vijnana. Knowing body, called kāya vijnana. And the knowing mind, called mano vijnana. So, all the faculties we can't use without vijnana. Eye, we can never use eye without mind. For example, we can see dead body. A dead body has an eye. A dead body has an eye. And we can show a picture to that eye, but he can't know. Why? He don't have the consciousness. We can talk to the dead body, but he can't hear. Why? He doesn't have consciousness. We can touch the dead body, but he can't feel. Why? He doesn't have consciousness. So, I become I because of the consciousness. Ear become a ear because of the consciousness. Nose become a nose because of consciousness. Body become a body, or called kāye, because of the consciousness. So without consciousness, these faculties can't be used. The main part is consciousness. That is good question. Dear Bhanthe, how should one's attitude be like when engaged in four postures? Dear Dhamma friends, it is very difficult to practice these four postures according to the Sutta. At once, you can't see your posture. Why? We never use that. If you try, you can't catch that incidence. Normally, if you want to stand up from this chair, first we create a thought. First we create a thought. And then that thought create a called kāyānupassanā. Kāyānupassanā means that thought create a picture of that action. It is called kāyānupassanā. And that action, that kāyānupassanā, create the Chittakiri Vayodhatu. Chittakiri Vayodhatu means elements related to the mind. So those are by degrees, gradually you can catch. At once you will be unable, but if you have the intention or if you have chanda, you can catch. And sometimes you will find this is very difficult, but don't worry. There are another factors, there are another methods. So when you develop these four postures, when you pay your keen attention on these four postures, you can catch your mind. You can stop your mind that go here and there. When you do this, when you practice this, you can stop that bad ditti, that wrong ditti. You know the reality about the soul, about the body and the mind. Now, when I explain this, I have to talk that micchā ditti, because if we understand this badly, or if you misunderstand this, some people will think that there are no beings. That is wrong. If you have that ditti, you meet as beings. With that ditti, with that that is called abhinivesa paramasa. That is deeply established idea. So if you understand, the understanding is very important. Without understand, by saying that there are no soul, it is a ditti. But if you understand, you don't try to do that. So when I explain the sammaditi, I have to tell about that. So that is when you practice these 4 postures, you have to practice by understanding the faculties, the realities of the faculties. Not all the understanding. Not you don't need to understand. You don't need to manage all the things, all the teachings. Sometime when you can think that your body made of 4 elements, 4 great elements, Patavi, you can keep your idea about the Patavi elements or earth elements. Then you can develop your meditation on 4 postures. So this is how we engage with 4 postures. If you think, if you understand the reality, that means about the reality of these 6 sense bases, after that, after understanding, you can keep your mind in special factor, in a special point. Sometimes you can use earth element or air element. You can think about your body as air element or earth element or fire elements or water elements. Whatever things you can practice. Dear Bhanthe, 6 sense bases are creating the world. Then, what is the creating the 6 sense bases? Should one refer to the link, the dependent origination? Yes, we should follow that paticca samuppada, dependent origination. So, salayatana paccaya passo, because of namarupa paccaya salayatana, namarupa, materiality and mentality. Because of materiality and mentality, these 6 sense bases are originated. That is how. So it is very vast topic. We have to talk. So we have to take long time to talk about that. So if you want to understand how these 6 sense bases are meet us, we have to understand about the dependent origination or the paticca samuppada. Very important word. So while engaging in 4 postures in meditation, then focus one by one. Earth ailments, wind ailments. Dear Dhamma friends, if you are difficult to catch the 4 postures, you can use other parts. But if you are able to do that without any problem, you can catch those 4 postures. But if you are difficult to catch these 4 postures, because this is very this practices can't be used at once, because our mind is very tough, very stubborn. It's go here and there all the time. The mind asks the sensual things. It is very difficult. So if you are difficult to catch at once in these 4 postures, you can use whatever things. Sometimes you can use some other ailments, ailments, so whatever things. If you are able to pay your attention on 4 elements, you can do that. But according to your ability, you can use. The main thing is you should be able to reduce that there is a being in the body and the mind, that there is a soul in the body and the mind, within understanding. If you are not clear, please think and think about that reality. So that is the answer. So dear Dhamma friends, I think it is time to wind up the sermon. So as usually, we do anumodana. First of all, my teacher, Most Venerable, I get permission to speak the name Most Venerable Mahākadavala Sudassana Thera and Mahākadavala Nandaratana Thera and Kotmale Kumara Kassapa Thera, and Bhikkhu Pesala, Bhanthe Sudasso, Ayya Soma, and all live joiners to this sermon, and all Buddhist and all Bhikkhu Mahasangha in the Labunoruwa Kanda Forest Monastery, and all Buddhist followers around the world, all the Bhikkhu Sangha around the world. So, dear Dhamma friends, let's we transfer all these merits to the Devas. Recite with me. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā ciran rakkantu buddha sāsanam ආකාසට්ටා ච බුම්මට්ටා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා යං රක්ඛන්තු බුද්ධ ශාවකං ආකාසට්ටා ච බුම්මට්ටා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා බෝධයන්තු සිවං පදං. sadhu sadhu sadhu. I bless all of you. Abhivadana silissa niccang uddhāpacāyino cattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhaṃ balaṃ ayurārogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca ato nibbāna sampatti mināte samijjatu. Theruvān saranai to all of you. Good evening to all of you.